You know,
Yeah,
you reminded me
heard,
when you brought up Mads Mikkelsen, you're naked and he's got rope, right? It reminded me of when...
I really don't know if I want to know what it reminded you of.
No. Well, it reminds me of a few things.
Quentin here. I'm fine, babe.
This is Ethan. I'm gonna go.
Don't worry, Devon's here. This is time. Let's rock and roll.
Welcome, blah, 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 blah.
Why do we ever let him do the... Welcome to the Power Up Brothers podcast, where the set's never the same, and our points don't matter.
Yep.
Here we are in the crematorium.
Here it is.
Beautiful.
You know, our favorite place to be.
This is the best it's ever looked, though.
It is.
Certainly that is a low bar to jump over, babe.
Yeah,
that is really not
kind of sad.
I only jump over low bars.
I was about to say, how can you do anything else?
I'd hurt my back
could
if
you
I
not?
didn't.
Right. You'd hurt your everything if you did.
I think this new location is defined by terrible intros.
Yeah,
it has been thus far.
The bus driving one from last time.
Right. Yeah, because our production value and writing quality and all that was so good back in the day when we were in a different place.
It was I mean, I think so.
Okay.
I think so.
Yeah, sure.
Ty, we missed our first podcast ever.
Oh, it was beautiful.
Last week.
It took literally getting sick to death. It took literally getting the flu.
You got the flu. You got married to an Italian woman.
I did.
I mean, I'm not gonna say anything about it other than it's unforgivable
because she's Italian.
You've betrayed the Irish race, but
she's half Irish. Does that make you feel better?
Nope. Nope. That just means that her parents betrayed the Irish race.
Yeah.
Okay. But nonetheless, they were gone, and it made for a most exciting episode of the podcast.
Go watch that.
Go check it out.
It's scrolling across the bottom of the screen right now if Devon does his job.
But despite that,
never does his job.
I'm going to say welcome back to the podcast.
Thank you. It feels good.
Glad you're
in the space
here.
Glad that you are feeling better and you got a divorce.
That didn't
That
happen.
is really, I'm
very
glad.
sorry.
All right, it worked out.
I got a divorce and he's feeling better.
Yeah,
exactly. Okay.
I feel better now that you're divorced.
Right.
Okay.
Well,
for the first time, I think ever, I'm going to genuinely ask Quentin, what you been playing?
Oh.
For the first time, maybe ever, a new game has come out that Quentin is interested in.
Yes. A new game is out, and
new game is now game.
No. Don't get ahead of. Let's not get ahead of.
Sorry.
Let's not get ahead of ourselves. Don't make assumptions.
I have seen rumblings of feet.
There's been,
but it's a Kojima game.
Mm-hmm. There's feet.
So we're talking about Donkey Kong.
We're talking about Donkey Kong.
Kojima.
No, we're talking about Death
Kojima
Stranding
Productions.
2.
Death Stranding 2 on the beach.
On the beach.
What chapter are you on?
It all blends together when it's kind of like when one nightmare rolls into the next, right?
Okay.
I think I'm on chapter 5.
Okay.
How much is it like the original Death Stranding?
It's kind of like if you took the original Death Stranding and you gave it speed. You kind of drugged it. You gave it some kind of a extreme stimulant.
The gameplay is more.
Do you still leave things for other players? And they give you likes?
So what's interesting is like mechanically the game is a lot better than Death Stranding. They've improved tons and tons of stuff. The menu system is a little more complicated, so there's a bit of a learning curve that didn't exist with the first game. But it's because there's so much that you can do within that.
Yeah.
That once you get it down, it's perfect, right? Yeah. But it is a little more complicated. I like my menus to be pretty streamlined.
Yeah.
So that's a bit of an adjustment. But overall, mechanically, it is much, much better. It's the vehicle controls are so much better. They don't get stuck constantly.
That was a problem in the first one?
Big problem where vehicles would get stuck on rocky terrain and they wouldn't have a contact point, and so they would just kind of get stuck. And now you have sort of wheels that have variable heights, and so they will kind of adjust to give you, room to move.
Interesting.
So you get stuck a lot less. So there's all these quality of life improvements, which are terrific. and also the way you interact with the terrain. I know it's a strange thing because this is the only game where you'd ever have this conversation, but all the terrain in the game is very intentional.
Yeah.
And how you interact with that.
I know exactly
and the
what
design.
you mean, though. I think more games should... Anytime I'm playing a game and it just feels like my character's like floating across and doing like an animation, I just like...
Yeah, you're like, what year is it?
Well,
Yes,
and it immediately pulls you out of it. Like, Mario 64 had this down, where like the pitter-patter of his feet got more when he went down a hill and then less when he went up a hill. If you can't emulate that in the year of our Lord 2025, I don't know.
Yeah, and Kojima has done well in the past for being really intentional with things like Snake stepping on each step when going up steps, right? Not just doing that sort of like regular walk animation and just sort of gliding upstairs, right?
Right.
Yeah.
And Death Stranding 2 is absolutely, just a perfect evolution of the first game. However, and I'm not trying to besmirch the Kinosaurus Rex that is Hideo Kojima.
Right.
But let me tell you something.
Because he's listening.
Video Kojima, Video Bojima, okay? Video game Jima. You screwed up bad.
Uh-oh.
Oh.
You screwed up bad.
Oh.
I'm going to say that Death Stranding 2 right now is quite underwhelming.
Oh no.
It is quite underwhelming.
I
would
can see
say.
why. You said it was an improvement in every way.
It was an improvement in every way. Here's the thing. I will say one thing.
Wanted.
There is more combat options, but the combat is still pretty terrible, which is, a lot of people have this whole thing where they're like, well, the game's not supposed to be fun, and I understand. Hideo Kojima, in an interview recently, said that he was watching playtesters, and when he saw they were having too much fun, he realized that he was doing something wrong, because the game is all about overcoming the misery of working as a day laborer, right?
Okay.
And so... I understand they didn't want to fix the combat, whatever.
Sure.
I don't really care. The thing that I don't really like is that I think that the design philosophy for the game is so much worse. It is so much worse than the original game.
When you say design, what do you mean design philosophy?
As far as how they have designed your progression in the game, it is significantly worse. In the sense that... So to put it in perspective,
right?
In the first game, there's a moment that everybody talks about where you're approaching a city, and this music starts playing, right? A low roar song starts playing, and you can see the city in the distance, but you've got to go down this space. You've just gotten through this horrible area with the ghosts in it, right? And it is so satisfying. It's such an emotional moment when you finally get to that, and that's very early in the game, right? You're just walking to it. It's terrific. It's an area where you couldn't have brought the bike, and the bike is not very good in that first, game. And there's a lot of areas that it's really hard for that bike to get anywhere, right? And so you still are relying on walking. Just a great moment. The first time that this happened and a low roar song came on, I was already on this bike that can go anywhere, right? And I got to my destination so quickly that the first verse was over.
Oh.
When the song stopped. And you get to the progressing through it. I managed to do the first section in like an hour and a half, maybe. It was just like I just zoomed through that first section.
Faster paced.
They just move, and you get to the second section.
And you feel like that they're losing the soul of the original game, which was like take your time. And slow down.
With that, and even the story so far, all of it has very much kind of lost the sauce, the secret sauce of the first game. There's a lot of stuff that's happening that's like, oh, they're doing it again, right? And there's a chance that they'll turn this around and make an interesting parallel of the first game.
Sure.
But as of yet, it's a lot of, oh, they're doing this again.
Do you think maybe he's spread himself a little too thin doing like Death Stranding?
Yeah. He's got like 3 games in production, and that is obviously not the best situation. And also, Kojima is facing serious illness. He's going blind. And so, he's got, some serious health issues.
Poor guy.
So there's a lot of factors here. I don't know.
Sure.
The thing is that the game is very well put together. Mechanically, it's very well put together. So I don't really know. I feel like as it concerns...
I get what you're saying.
Let me ask you a question, because I feel like some like Kojima has that like very like Artur energy to the way he makes things, and one of the like critical, like the most critical elements to the Artur is hate. They have to like hate a little bit of something for it to be good. Like Kojima hates Solid Snake. But Kojima makes games about Solid Snake.
Right? Yeah.
And Kojima likes Big Boss, but Big Boss has to like suffer horribly and a bunch of bad things happen to him. And he has to be a bad person.
Right. Yeah.
And that like that inability to make a game where everyone loves Big Boss because he's so cool and big and he is the boss, right?
Yeah. He famously loves Raiden. And he was really upset that people didn't like Raiden.
Yeah. And so here's the thing. He makes a game with Mr. Solid Snake in 3D of the third dimension. And he immediately goes, no, give me the wide-hipped twink man.
Right.
And no one likes that.
Well, I like it.
But it's good.
But yeah.
Well, but it's good.
And
that's the thing is that like, he's always having to make the game he doesn't want to make, and it's always fantastic.
Yeah,
but Death Stranding 2 is not the game he doesn't want to make. It's another shot at the game that he wanted to make.
So, Quinn, tell us what does Death Stranding 2 need to do to get you to where you're like...
The big issue is that there's some things that they simply cannot do now because, they've already got the auto pavers in the second area where you're building these giant roads.
Right.
The game is just... It
is Minecraft.
New players are being completely robbed of the experience that made Death Stranding 1 so special.
Yeah.
As far as...
play Death Stranding 2 without playing Death Stranding 1, I feel like you're going to be horrible.
Oh, no, you're going to be... When I say new players, I don't mean players who have never played Death Stranding 1. I'm saying a person who is starting Death Stranding 2 for the very first time is being robbed of an experience that you got playing Death Stranding.
Sure.
What they could do to make it better... the big thing is that the story right now is not catching me in any way. And I don't know. Maybe Kojima will do a little switcheroo, turn things around, make it a little more interesting. It's very much... it very much feels like Kojima had a lot of characters from the first game that he was just like, I don't want to play with you anymore. And so he literally was just like, I'm going to write out
play with you.
He drops it. Kojima literally basically has said with this game, like, everybody that was in the previous game, they're out except for the hot lady. She's in and hotter this time.
Maybe I'll play Death Stranding too.
And this is his sort of philosophy. He gets rid of all of the characters except for Sam and Fragile, and then he just introduces hot characters and George Miller.
Oh.
And that's basically it.
All right.
Yeah.
And so
let's check back in with Quentin next week.
I would say, so
when he's beaten Death Stranding 2.
1 year from now, when we do the anniversary of Death Stranding 2, I just want your verbal permission right here and now that I can play all these clips at you as you try to explain to me why Death Stranding 2 is the greatest video game that's ever been made.
I'm going to go ahead and preface this by saying that Hideo Kojima...
I don't think you can preface it. You already said it.
No, this is in editing. This is in editing.
I'll edit it back.
I need to preface this as like a disclaimer before my rant. That Hideo Kojima, he's the king of Kino. And he's the Kinosaurus Rex.
Right.
He's the King Kino. Right. And there's a good chance that by the time this is over, it'll be the greatest story in the world. Yeah. As far as the progression issues, the only way that, in my opinion, will be really great...
is if the game starts over.
No, if Hideo Kojima appears in the game, maybe as Guiji, appears in the game...
as he often does.
And says... I tricked you. I tricked you. I purposefully sabotaged this because I hate you.
Yeah.
And
could
I would
it be
like.
subversive that like giving the players everything that they want is kind of a commentary?
He made a game
thing.
to make people miserable.
Yes.
No, it's to
Yeah.
make it too easy. Like he gives you like roads and stuff.
Oh yeah.
Specifically because
And
like,
he's like,
No. I do
the
think
tagline is that it wasn't but a mistake to reconnect.
Yeah,
and
uh-huh.
then he makes it so easy to
Interesting.
connect.
Well,
That maybe like
yeah.
maybe you get the bad ending if you reconnect all the stuff.
Maybe you may be onto something in that he may be making a commentary on the fact that players whined constantly about Death Stranding being difficult or hard
Tedious.
hard to get into because it was tedious and things like that, and then going like, don't worry, we're going to streamline all of it, right? And maybe that'll be a commentary on the fact that the conveniences of technology
I really
ruining the
love that
world.
Quentin is having an existential crisis in his game, and he's trying to figure out like these elements to it, and then I just wanted to smash cut to me playing Mario Kart World, going whoopee, like doing circles, flying around pieces.
It's true.
Now, I've heard some spoilery.
Let's get off of Death Stranding 2 and talk about what you're playing.
Right, what are you playing? I mean, do you want to say this quick thought
do want
and
to say
then
this
go
quick-
say
go
the
ahead,
quick
say the
thought.
quick thought?
okay.
I've heard some spoilery rumblings about a cameo in this game.
Oh.
Have you, can we have a little spoiler talk real quick
Spoiler.
about this cameo?
I have not seen the cameo.
Okay.
So
okay,
I'll
spoil
have to.
anything.
I'll have to wait and see.
Okay.
I've seen
Are you
cameos
aware of the
but
cameos?
Mm-mm.
It's just
No.
Jeff Keighley, guys.
I've
It's
heard
just
of it.
Jeff again.
Jeff
Cameo.
Kiwi,
Yeah, Jeff Keighley.
the man that I spent a
Conan?
fateful
Yeah.
night with in
Next
Los
week,
Angeles,
maybe
California.
when we catch back up with what you're playing, you
Maybe
might
you've
have a
seen
completely
it.
different opinion
Maybe.
about Death
We'll-
Stranding 2
we'll
and
see.
know about the cameos.
There is much to talk
about
about.
it.
We could have a whole
All right.
podcast about it.
Yeah.
Ty,
Ethan,
I already
we already
cat's
said
out of the bag for me.
Oh yeah.
Mario Kart World.
I've been
Again.
playing
for the next 10 years.
the
Yeah.
hit MMO, not RPG,
Okay,
Dune Awakening.
right.
Doing
Or
Awakening.
as I call it, Dune
Man,
Quackening.
we really all play a lot of
Doom
video
quackening.
games on this
Wow.
video game
Video
podcast, and you can
games.
tell because everyone's had the same
Same
answers
game.
for the last
Same
month.
game.
Anything?
That's all I play. The
anything
game actually
new for
out.
you?
Can you
Because
give
before
us an
it was in
update? Have you
beta.
encountered any other sand?
Yeah.
Sand
maybe-
update.
there's
Now
some-
I found rocks.
Oh,
whoa!
rocks
There-
are really just
I haven't gotten a
sand in
chance.
solid form.
I haven't had a chance to play as much the last week of
Yeah.
Dune, but when me and Ty were playing, we came across a zone that was pretty mind blowing.
Yeah.
The like visuals of it were kind of
and a lot of
insane.
sand there.
There was actually no sand.
There's no sand.
It was really interesting.
Was it rock?
There was rock.
There
Why,
was rock.
wait,
There
but
were
why
rock,
did
which is
you?
kind of sand? Sort of.
There
What,
were
you said it was a good environment,
It was great.
Was,
but
it
there,
was
but there was no
shockingly good.
sand.
It was spooky.
Yeah, it was very spooky.
Oh.
You know, if I
it was
wanted to
very,
play
like,
a game
visually-
without sand,
Yeah.
I wouldn't play Dune
I found out
Okay,
that
that's
that's
stupid.
on GeForce now,
You
and I
can
should
bring
get it.
sand with you.
and pour it out.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Wow,
I
okay.
found it's on GeForce
You
now,
should.
so I should play it with you
You
guys.
should play with us.
And I can get GeForce now on my Steam Deck.
Build
now.
our
my
So-
my useless Steam Deck. The Valve literally
Yes.
promised me they were going to take care of, and they spit on it
Yeah.
and threw it in the dumpster.
It's a GeForce Now machine.
It's a GeForce Now machine.
yeah.
So I have been playing Hitman.
Oh, yes.
They have a series in Hitman, which is quite fun. It's called The Elusive Targets.
Hmm.
And sometimes they just get celebrities to play themselves,
Oh,
and
cool.
you go and
And hit 'em.
and hit them.
Yeah, you go and hit 'em.
Like a famous
Yeah.
wrestler or boxer
Yeah.
has been one of them. Sean Bean, you kill him like 5 times. It's
Of
really
course,
funny. And
yeah,
he plays
because
himself.
it's Sean
The
Bean.
latest one was Mads Mikkelsen
Oh.
playing Le Chiffre from Casino Royale.
Right.
Ooh.
And it is a really, really cool mission. You can actually, there's like poker tables set up below, and you can play Texas Hold'em, and it simulates it.
Wow.
You can follow the storyline, and it follows like Casino Royale. You get into a card match with him in this private thing. You get poisoned.
Oh.
You wake up naked, strapped to a chair, and he's got the rope thing.
That's hot.
Right.
That is hot.
It's great.
Okay.
It was so
Quentin's
much
gotta
fun.
settle
Oh,
down
I-
here, yeah.
I really had to
also
cool off.
figured out where he stands at certain points in the mission, and when replaying it, shot him with a sniper rifle from so far away and ended the match
Oh wow.
like 2 minutes into the
Smart.
game. I got like a pretty high record on it. It
Yeah.
was very cool.
Yeah.
They also showed off something they had announced, but everyone kind of.
Are you playing this on Switch too? Isn't Hitman out?
It
for
is
Switch
on Switch too. I was just playing it on Steam.
Oh, just on Steam. Yeah.
They showed off something that they had announced when they announced the James Bond game that they're making. Mm-hmm. They also announced that 2-player mode was coming to Hitman. Now, this has kind of been in Hitman before in a mobile game where you play as these 2 snipers.
Yeah.
They just show, and when they showed off that it was going to have multiplayer again, that game has been gone for a little bit. They showed off those characters again.
Yeah.
They showed off video of it, and no, it is just the Hitman stages that they're retooling to be multiplayer.
Wow.
Cool. And so they showed off a video of it.
Of the original game?
Of the original game. Of the World of Assassination. Which is the latest 3 games, the remake games.
Well, I would...
and it looks really good.
That
really,
sounds
really
cool.
Yeah.
I've never played a Hitman game.
I haven't either.
But it sounds fun.
Have you ever hit a man?
They're kind of the way I would describe them, kind of puzzle games.
You know,
you
reminded me when you brought up Mads Mikkelsen, you're naked and he's got rope, right? It reminded me of when...
I really don't know if I want to know what it reminded you of.
No. Well, it reminds me of a few things, but so producer Cameron was like, you should make a...
It reminds you of producer Cameron.
Well, specifically...
She's got the rope.
What? No. Well, see, she wanted me to get a Pinterest because she likes send pictures of little animals and flowers and art and things like that, right? And icons and stuff.
Yeah.
And so I was like, oh, okay. But then I didn't know what to do with it. And she was like, oh, well, there's people will make people boards where, they make, interesting looking people and things like that. And I was like, oh, I'll do that. Right. And, Cameron always calls me gay. The point is that she's convinced. Mm-hmm. Anyways, the point is that board very quickly became a male lust board. And I didn't intend for it to be that way. But you reminded me because Mads Mikkelsen was the bulk of that board. There were so many Mads Mikkelsen modeling
I'm just really glad
photos.
that we have on recording Quentin saying that waking up naked with Mads Mikkelsen holding a robe reminds him of producer Cameron.
That reminds me of producer Cameron.
He goes, producer Cameron. That's who he thinks of.
That's what I think of.
Which that's a perfect segue into topic of the week. I'm deeply closeted. Guys, welcome. I want that line in there. Guys, welcome. Welcome to topic of the week. We don't have poor producer Harris.
Finally refilled the topic back.
We refilled
sensuous
it.
clause.
I did a good job. I put in 7.
Yeah. I'm going to get my 1 out of here.
I put in 3 when Harrison was here and they didn't get used. So I got 4 in there now.
I put in 3. So
I don't think I put in 7. I think I put in 6.
I want to see if I can... There's no texture difference in these.
No, they're all the same paper.
They're all the same paper. All right, what did I get? Oh, it's a little one.
Yeah.
Little one. Not one of mine.
Itty-bitty one.
This has got to be an Ethan one, right?
This is Quentin.
This is me?
Oh.
What?
What?
Let me read it?
No, I got it.
Okay. You don't have it.
Pragmata.
Okay, give it.
I'm reading it. Pragmata, Donkey Kong Bonanza, Death Stranding 2, ... Video games been taken over by Zionists?
That was the worst way to read.
I did pretty good there.
Can we read that again?
I did pretty good.
I'm sorry. Let me read that again.
Okay.
Hold on. I'm sorry,
Let's
gentlemen.
get a backup topic.
Can we just go ahead and read this one more time?
Okay, go
this
for
is
it.
You're going to cut into this. This is a question from Quentin.
Oh.
Pragmata, Donkey Kong Bonanza, Death Stranding 2. Video games have been taken over by Zionists?
Yeah.
See, that's
I
how
like
you need
the way I wrote.
That's how you need to read it with some emphasis.
Okay, Quentin, please give us a brief description of what you're talking about.
No,
we have to do something
that the point?
to stop this perverted elite who are stealing the children. Who are Pauline's the only one that's not blonde-haired and blue-eyed. There's probably meaning to that. Okay.
Good topic, Quentin. Too bad no one knows what it is.
Yeah.
Reaching my meaty claw into the topic bag. If it's another Quentin,
I really hope
I'm
it is.
putting it back.
I hope it is.
I'm putting it back.
That one looks good.
This one looks good.
That one looks good.
Oh no, it's a Harrison one.
Oh, okay.
Harrison, hey, that's great.
Should we wait till Harrison's here? He'll get really sad if we do one of his topics.
Right.
Set it aside. Set it aside.
All
Grab
right.
a good one.
Meaty Claw.
Meaty Claw. Grab a good one.
Charm.
You got
There
it.
are no rules about the topic.
No,
Right,
there are no
right.
rules.
No rules.
Hey, at least it's video game related.
Stupid.
Do you like the things that inspired your favorite games?
It's an Ethan one.
From
Ooh,
Ethan.
That's
Yeah.
a good one.
That's a really good
Do
one.
you like
Do you?
things
The question was,
inspired?
do you like the things?
Do you
I-
like the things?
Really like Fire Emblem,
Hmm.
but I'm not a huge fan of chess.
Ah.
And dating, take it or leave it. So,
That was the inspiration for Fire Emblem was
yes.
dating.
Well,
Yes, what if you
okay.
could date
Right.
the Rook from Fire Emblem?
Right.
Or from chess.
Chess, right.
Yeah.
You can date Rook in Fire Emblem.
Yeah.
That's true.
There's no
That's
maybe.
true.
Yeah, some games have very, very, very clear inspirations,
Yeah.
and others, are you kind of got to go up the genealogical line a little more. You got to dig some fossils up to figure it out. But sometimes it's easier to figure out, like Pong and Ping Pong. Obviously,
Super easy.
super easy
Yeah,
to like figure that out. But other times it takes a little bit of digging, and sometimes I think it's kind of interesting that you might like something a whole lot, and then you trace it back to where like it came from, even if it's just previous video games and you don't like them, or you go back even further and you don't like the inspiration of it. I was actually thinking about how Kojima, in so much of his games, are inspired by movies, and a lot of people really like the games and don't like the movies that Kojima has inspired.
What's interesting to me too is when I don't have any experience with whatever inspired it, the artwork, the art style for Legend of Zelda: The Wind Waker is heavily pulled from a Japanese show or a movie, or
It's a style, chibi.
Well,
chibi
no,
shows,
it's specifically The Little Prince.
Oh, okay.
The cat eyes, the kind of like line with an eye and then another line.
Mm-hmm.
More than just chibi. Like chibi is a thing,
everything,
big head, little body. But I've never seen it. So like that's interesting to me, where like oftentimes something that inspired something that I really like is not something that I'm necessarily aware of. Like, so I've never seen Journey to the West, the old movie. I've never read Journey to the West, the old Chinese fable, but
Too weak. Too weak.
It inspired so much of what Miyamoto did.
Yeah,
with the original Zelda and Mario, and
too bad
maybe you
there's
should
no
read it.
game that the Cat in the Hat inspired. Then you'd be able to know the source material.
There is a Cat in the Hat video game.
Hat in Time.
Yeah,
A Hat in
Right.
Time.
There you go.
No, I will say though is that like I think in general, I think I do. I think I like when I finally watch Journey to the West, I'm probably going to like it because I think that if you got introduced to a game and now you're going back to see what it was inspired by,
Right. You could also read Journey to the West.
This
you don't
is
have to
funny
watch it. You can
because
also read-
this is
you
funny
can
for
also
me
read it.
because I
Even
like
Very good.
so much stuff. I think it's I don't think there's any argument that I play the broadest range of video games out of us. I play the most different kinds.
oh, I see what you're saying. Sure.
And I generally like them all.
Yeah.
And I usually like what inspired the game too. But this comes with a big caveat, is that I can tell so quickly that I don't like something and dip out of it, that I feel like if a game is inspired by something that I am not going to like, I probably don't like the game, and I probably dip out of it very quickly. So generally, when I find out, oh, this thing was inspired by X, Y, or Z, I explore X, Y, and Z, and it's like, oh, I love this. So yeah, like I have a very, I think, different experience. I do like chess.
Yeah.
And I like Fire Emblem. And I'm okay. Dating, I could take it or leave it. But that wasn't in the first one.
Well, here's the thing. I like dating more than I like chess. But here's the thing. I don't like chess so much.
Sounds like you're a nerd.
Yeah.
On this podcast?
That's
No.
true. It is. That's true. Here's the thing. My liking chess doesn't make me like Fire Emblem more.
Well, that's
And
not what Ethan said.
But what I'm saying is that it could detract from me liking Fire Emblem. And the reason is that sometimes, in fact, I'd say the majority of the times, I can see what inspired a game, and I like that thing so much more that the game is worse. Like, yeah, I do like
you like it more than the game.
But the problem is that I kind of want something where I have no connection to anything that inspired it, because I know that I will enjoy it more if I don't.
But I do I will say, though, that like even if you like the thing that inspired it more, it's sometimes fun to just have a different take on something you already love, even if that thing isn't necessarily as good.
You're also you're describing anything that's ever been. Everything was inspired by something. There's nothing that is wholly
I think
original.
he means something he hasn't experienced.
But I'm saying something I have not experienced. Because the derivative aspects of something, I think, tend to detract for me, usually.
We should clarify, though. There's a difference between being like derivative and inspired is a big difference. People say it's not, but there's a big difference.
Yeah, it's funny because like we were
it's literally the same thing. I mean, to be inspired by something is to have a certain either narrative or otherwise iterative qualities to it, because it is to take
derivative.
I don't think this guy knows what derivative means.
No, you know what I'm saying?
To derive from, to iterate on.
Right.
These are the same effect.
Sure, I guess the term derivative, though, usually
sounds harsh.
Well, it usually means that literally you took it from it. You weren't like, oh, that makes me think of this, and then you made something else. You literally were like, I'm going to make an Italian plumber who runs through pipes.
I mean, my main problem is, again, that if I'm playing something and I stop and I go, oh man, this reminds me of this, I'm going to have a worse time. And
I thought of one.
Well, my main example here is Undertale, because most people that play Undertale have not played Mother 3.
Right.
But whenever I play Undertale, I am constantly just wishing that I was playing Mother 3. Right? And the problem, I've said this on the podcast before, which is that the problem I have is every time I play a video game, I'm thinking about playing a different video game.
It's very Quentin problem.
But really, that extends to all these things. If I was super into chess, which I'm not, but if I was super into chess, every time I'd play Fire Emblem, I'd be like, man, I wish I was just playing chess online right now. You know, because you can make love in real life. You don't have to do it with anime characters, right? But playing so when I'm playing chess, I'm not thinking about love, right?
Okay.
When I'm loving, I'm thinking about chess.
Okay,
right.
What was your example, Tom?
I thought of one that an example of a game that I like, and then I'm not that keen on the thing that inspired it. And quinoa. It's Star Fox, which was very clearly inspired by like top-down.
That's a really good example.
Style shooters, and I'm not that big a fan of those.
Was it inspired by that?
It was very clearly.
I had no idea.
Well, and also, I also can say Star Fox. That I went back one time and watched Thundercats that like Star Fox was based on. I didn't really like it. I was like,
I guess this is a perfect example. I didn't play Xevious or those kinds of sort of bomber games. I didn't play those until long after I'd played Star Fox.
They're not great. I did play them first, but I never quite connected with them. They were a little the thing that they are
you
very
like Defender
different,
though, don't you?
Defender's fun.
Yeah.
The thing that they're different than Star Fox, I feel like, is they get a little bit like a bullet hell. Most of the time, and Star Fox never really does that.
No.
So, like, that's, I think, the secret sauce. But I think the inspiration is clearly there. And, I just don't connect with it. That's the example that I managed
to liking
come to.
When you like the source material, but you like the end product, this new thing, better, does it make the source material worse for you?
No.
Well, source material or inspiration?
Sorry, inspiration.
Oh, yeah.
No.
Does it make the inspiration worse for you after having experienced the glory?
For me, it does.
I don't dislike things in general because I like something else better. Because you can only enjoy something so much, right? I can only play so much Star Fox before I'm a little tired of Star Fox, but I can enjoy this like another variation on it, even if I don't enjoy it as much. If it's different, just a little bit different, then I enjoy it, right? Like I can enjoy it separate. It's just more of the thing that you like, right? Like I love The Legend of Zelda, but if I played a lot of The Legend of Zelda, if I go and I play other adventure games that are inspired by The Legend of Zelda, I don't find them as good, but they scratch that itch and are different enough that I'm having fun.
Yeah, I think in general, though, I wish more people would evaluate things based on like what they are. not what they are not, like thinking in the negative space.
Sure.
And the reason I say that is just because, like, that's how you reconnect with the inner child. A lot of people talk about your inner child like it's something that just dies, but really what you're describing is like the willingness to accept something new, because as a child, everything's new. Everything is just like new input. And there's nothing wrong with becoming an adult and having like tastes and like preferences, but the way you maintain that childlikeness is you remain open to the new things.
Right. Yeah.
And you keep that attitude of like, I just want to see what this thing is. And you limit yourself when you go like, well, it's not this, therefore I don't like it.
Two things that like I think about on this topic are like survival crafters.
Yeah.
Is the big one, because I'm so big into Legos.
Sure.
But I could very easily like fall down an endless rabbit hole of building Legos and having nowhere to put them.
Right.
And so survival crafters let me like scratch that itch of like getting all the little blocks in the right place, right? Mm-hmm. And so like they are inspired by that. They're inspired by all these sets of Legos, and with very few exceptions, most survival crafters have to some degree.
Some
like,
sort of build
I would argue
mechanic.
Green Hell doesn't really have an inspiration from Legos, but like
it's not. It's just a survival game, though.
But it's really just a survival. It's not really a crafter. But games like Enshrouded are big into that. Little Lego blocks, and you're putting them everywhere, and it really clicks for me.
Right.
Another one that we were just talking about is Hitman, and the ways in which it is like a puzzle game. And in real life, it's inspired by like a Rube Goldberg machine, where you have like one seemingly unrelated thing connect to another, right?
Yeah.
You might like toss a coin into an area and it makes a little sound. And so the guy goes over there and he walks over there. And while he's looking over there, you like open a door and you like set like a gun on the floor. And when he comes back, he goes, "Oh, this isn't supposed to be here." And he picks it up and he takes it to put it away. And you've got a bomb planted where he's going to walk, right? It's all these little seemingly unconnected things that you put together to solve the puzzle, right? I like, in real life, I like puzzles, and I really like Rube Goldberg machines. Yeah. And that's one of the reasons I always, come back to Hitman at some point. I like this like cascading effect.
Right.
These are real life things that you look at it and you kind of wouldn't get that they're connected. But then when you like do the analysis of it and you figure out where it comes from, you suddenly start to be like, oh, wait a minute, like
it's kind of cool.
Yeah, I mean, there's a wish fulfillment aspect if we're going to apply like real world things, because in Death Stranding you walk, right? And I like to walk, right? And in Cyberpunk you can kill police officers, right? I have never done that in my life.
No,
but
it's a dream of his.
It's a dream of mine. And the point is that there's if we're talking about if we're including real world just sort of inspirations, right?
Yeah.
Then there's a lot of real world things that I like that are in video games, like winning, right? When winning feels good.
Yeah. How would you know?
Games,
Fire
right?
Emblem.
Well, because I've played video games.
Because I played video games.
Yeah, I played video games.
Fire Emblem's kind of the odd duck out, like in the examples I give, is that I'm not that big into chess, but I'm not that big into chess in particular because the starting order is fixed.
Sure.
Mm-hmm. And I like the mind game of setting up against your opponent so much.
Right.
The starting order being fixed means chess is more about knowing how one move affects the next.
I guess I can't think of one. I love Mario Golf.
Yeah.
I don't really like golf.
I
don't play golf.
Sure.
Stratego was inspired by chess.
Right.
But you don't know what the enemy's pieces are, and you can set them up randomly.
Yeah.
And I like that game a lot. I like the unknown factor to the enemy's army is a mystery.
Sure.
And on, it gains more of the qualities I enjoy. But chess really is, if you go back far enough, where it all starts. And I don't really click with it the way I do with other strategy.
Well, if we're including these real world inspirations, then I'm just going to end by saying that if it's something that you can do in the real world, take a walk, go out on a date, play chess, kill a police officer, take life by the horns and do it yourself rather than play video games. Because as I've established on this podcast, right, that video games, horrible as they are, is the activity of the poor and the deranged, and also Henry Cavill, right?
Right.
And nobody should be doing it touch grass.
The main thing you shouldn't do is listen to morons wearing pink on a podcast.
Well,
now, dark green, black, or like a nice brown
That's okay.
and red.
It's
That's fine. That's fine.
But the pink
Good
under
topic.
white light
Ethan.
came.
I really like
that.
that.
Was
like,
great.
yeah. The topic bag is full again, guys.
It's
back.
full,
and we're terrified. We might not read the Quentin ones ever again.
Probably not.
I'm putting more in there.
Probably not.
Well, tonight was a bit of a lightning round, so we're gonna say thank you guys for watching. If you're still here, go down there and say.
Go down there and speculate on what was the Quentin.
Yeah, what was he talking about?
Yeah. And sign up for our Patreon to get the content back that we removed from all the episodes.
Yeah, exactly.
So,
right. Yeah, and so if you guys like this cozy kind of content, people sitting around chatting about video games, and Quentin's here too, subscribe.
Oh, and
Go
also
down there.
I'm supposed to shout out. We have a TikTok account now, and if we ever find out who's running it, they'll be tried to the highest extent of the law. Right? They're dead man. But we have
they
a
remind
podcast.
Quentin of Mads Mikkelsen and waking up naked.
Gotta get out of there. It's power.up.bros.
Go check it out.
It's quite funny.
It's very funny.
Pod P-O-D.
Yeah.
So
it's the unhinged version of.
It's on TikTok right now. The description of it is this is a Ty and Quentin fan account because so as of yet
I wonder who runs it.
As of yet, neither of you are on it yet, but you'll get there.
That's a mark of pride for us.
Yeah,
we feel kind of good.
Eventually, we'll get some on there for you too. But
I get it. We're pretty entertaining.
Yeah. All right, guys. Thanks for being here. See you next week.
Goodbye. Don't come back. I don't want you anymore.